Welcome to Teams Tuesday, a podcast about mastering the best about what other people have already figured out. Teams Tuesday focuses on insights and lessons that never expire. You will walk away from every episode with actionable insights that help you get better results and be more productive.
This was about as bizarre and easy as it gets.
The client just couldn't make up their mind.
I feel like we had top.
Went from a project of 20 weeks to just 2.
The DevOps was a cultural shift.
This is Teams Tuesday with your host, Peter Ward.
Welcome to Teams Tuesday. It's the first Teams Tuesday of the year, 2025. And we've got a great guest, a good friend from many years who's been at Microsoft for over 5 years, Melissa Hubbard. How are you doing?
Hey, Peter. I'm doing well. Nice to see you again. I haven't seen you in a few years. We always meet up at the New York City, formerly known as SharePoint Saturday event.
That is true. I'm looking at your background. These are all your speaker conference landlords, are they?
Yes, I've been collecting them. Quite a few.
I have a few of those. And then you have a Dwight bobblehead, I see.
Yes, people that love my Dwight Schrute. That's just staring down. Big Office fan.
Every time I see repeats of The Office, even though I've seen these episodes a million times, they're still funny. They're still sort of like, entertaining with the antics of Michael Scott and Dwight and Pam and Jim.
The funniest is I was on a customer call and someone came on camera and he had a Dwight Schrute too. And I was like,
oh, really?
No way. Yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah. The episode I always remember in The Office was the when Dwight organized a fire safety exercise in the office, and he set fire to the office, and I think Stanley had a heart attack. It was just like ridiculous.
And Angela's trying to save her cats that she had secretly been bringing in the office.
Yes. It was just like, oh my God, on there. All right, so Melissa, you have been working with Microsoft for how long now?
I just hit this month my 5-year anniversary, which is wild. Time flies.
Okay, now you're based in North Virginia. Are you generally doing a lot of state, local government, or is it just anything in a certain geographical area?
Yeah, so no government. That's a separate team, but I am like regionally based where my customers are in the Northeast region, which probably DC is about as southern as we go. And then a lot of our customers are in Philly, New York City, etc.
Okay. And your official job title for this week, at least, is Copilot Technical Specialist. Is that right?
Yes, I am a Copilot Technical Specialist as of this year, formerly known as a Teams Technical Specialist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I interrupted you. You were going to say something else.
No, I was just going to say a little bit about the role because it doesn't exactly explain what I do. But I am on a sales team, Microsoft. So I work closely with sales specialists as their technical expert on our modern work products. So obviously, Copilot is the big thing that we're talking to customers about. Previously, Teams was the big thing that we were talking to customers about, but I help solve technical blockers, I answer technical questions, I give technical demos. It's really a fun role.
Right, okay. And tell me a few things personally about yourself, not too about that people just don't know about you.
Okay, things that people don't know about me. So I've lived a few different lives, and prior to working in IT and moving to the Northern Virginia area and getting into IT consulting and now working at Microsoft, I was actually a supervisor for the state of Nebraska for Children and Family Services, and we were focused on child abuse and neglect investigations. So it's just been an interesting career pivot, and definitely I learned a lot under high stress situations that have helped me in my career.
I can imagine that. And the answer is like you have 2 guinea pig pets.
Oh, yes. Oh, okay. I mixed up so I also have 2 guinea pigs. I used to have a cat, but he had to move to to my mom's house because my daughter's allergic and she was really, really sad. You know, we had that cat for like 5 years. So then we got guinea pigs and they're surprisingly lovable little creatures. We really love our guinea pigs. They sit and watch TV with us and chill with us. So yes.
Right. Okay. Then you transferred into IT, and what was your first version of SharePoint you encountered?
So my first, job in the DC area as an IT consultant was a SharePoint 2007 project, and I was doing government consulting then, and it was at the IRS.
Right. Okay. And then so that got you into the SharePoint world, which got you into the Teams, which conveniently gets you into talks about your guest topic here is Teams Premium Overview. So do you want to just briefly tell me and the audience, what is Teams Premium? What's the difference between Teams Premium and Teams Regular?
Yes. So I've been talking about Copilot a lot with customers, and Peter asked me, what topic do you want to do? I was like, you know what, I'm going to talk about something else. I'm going to talk about another modern work product that I talk to customers a lot about, which is Teams Premium. And I feel like a lot of people don't know about it, and it's a huge feature set. So it's a lot of features that mostly, are part of Teams and integrated with Teams, but they also kind of bleed into some of the other modern workloads as well. So it's an interesting feature set. It's just ways to get more out of Teams. If you have specific security and compliance features, there's feature sets there. So it's a suite of products that mostly are connected with Teams.
Okay. Very, very cool. All right. So with that introduction about your guinea pigs and your career change, I'll hand you over to your presentation topics.
All right. Thank you. All right. Let me share my screen here. Okay. Yep. So like I said, I'm going to be talking about Teams Premium today. I feel like it's important for people to just at least have an understanding of what it is, because maybe there's a feature you've been looking for in Teams and don't see it, and it might exist. It's just in this. This is what we call in our sales world a SKU. It's an additional license that sits on top of Teams. So, and it's important to know like what is in that, in case just for, like I said, if you have customers that are looking for features, if you're looking for features, and just to know get the full capabilities.
Okay.
All right, so, okay. I'm used to using PowerPoint Live. Sorry, give me a second. I have to actually, there we go.
Right, well.
Okay, so the features can be broken out in three main categories. Intelligent collaboration, which kind of infuses the AI into the situation, helps you focus on things in your meetings and calls. The Intelligent recap is a popular feature. I'll be able to show you that actually. Another is rich engagements. So being able to personalize your engagements, things that help with flexible work, hybrid work, and then advanced protection and management capabilities. And so this breaks it out a little bit more, some things I already mentioned.
So this all integrates obviously with Intune, I'm assuming.
With Intune?
Yes, with the advanced management protection.
Yeah, so all of your, all of the security and compliance features from within M365 span across the Teams Premium product as well. So there's a really cool hidden gem in this Teams Premium license, and I actually just gave a presentation this morning on it, Microsoft Places. So Microsoft Places, I'll talk more about it, but it became generally available at Ignite. And with all of the excitement around Copilot, I feel like it hasn't gotten its time to shine as much, but we've been actually talking to quite a few customers about Microsoft Places. I won't go too much into it now. Also, the branding in meetings that you might see, or you might have like the lobby with your custom branding, or wanting to have everyone in an organization use the same branded backgrounds if they use backgrounds. Those are part of Teams Premium. And then there's the popular intelligent recap for meetings, which actually is also part of the Copilot license. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, because there's been some confusion about like, well, if with Copilot, do you really need Teams Premium? Or, they're just completely separate products, but there's a tiny little piece that overlaps with Copilot, and I'm gonna show you that.
Quick question with the Microsoft Places. That's nothing new because we've been doing our town hall meetings with Teams. I think which got the booking, advanced booking. Has that been rebranded, or is there new features? Because I think we use all those features.
It's new features. It's a way for you to basically the business problem that it answers is a lot of people are either, returning back to work or have hybrid work policies, or maybe they're in office all the time, but they're not getting the most of those in-person office times. They don't know where others are working. They don't know what days their colleagues are going into the office. They're having trouble booking meeting rooms. Maybe it's the wild, wild west. I've worked at I've worked at a lot of consulting companies, so I've seen all types of office situations, but I feel like the worst ones are when you're going to the office, you don't have an assigned desk, and the booking system is so obscure you just don't even know, and you're just going hoping you can find a place to work, or you're hoping that a meeting room will be available because no one's paying attention to the bookings of it and stuff. So it solves those issues, getting the most out of your time in office. We could really do a whole session on Places, but I'll just talk, I have some slides that I'll show. And apologies this is mostly slides today, but it's because there's a lot of these are more like admin settings versus like, let me just do a demo of this technology, if that makes sense.
It's all good stuff.
All right, let me keep going and get into a little more detail about this. So let's talk first about the intelligent collaboration bundle of features. So language translation falls into Teams Premium. So we have live captions that you get, everyone with Teams has live captions that can be turned on. With live translation, you can be in a meeting live translating into 40 different languages. This is great for global teams that, maybe they have a team in India, or you have you're meeting with people that English isn't their first language a lot. You can turn that on. One, I guess, limitation I'll mention is that it's only going to translate into one language. So if you have someone who speaks German, someone who speaks English, and someone who speaks Chinese, it's not going to translate into more than one language, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Intelligent recap. This I'll show. I'll show a real example of it. But if you turn on transcription in your meetings, you can get this beautiful recap with notes and tasks that have been curated for you using AI. So getting the most of your meetings. I know that it's nothing new to talk about how we're all booked in so many meetings, and a lot of the time we leave meetings without a clear understanding of action items, or we have moved so quickly into the next meeting, we totally forget what we talked about on the meeting before. This is pretty much a life-saving feature here. It helps with productivity a ton. So but in addition to just the notes and tasks assigned, it'll tell you whenever you've been mentioned. And then it also gives you these timeline markers with different chapters based on topics and speakers that you can quickly jump to. So if there's a meeting, we do these, like for my role, we monthly do a big long call. It's like 2 hours long, and there's a lot of different guest speakers and topics. And sometimes I'll, maybe miss just a piece of it, or there's a topic I know that I need to go back and listen. Instead of having to scroll through yourself, you can just switch to different topics. Okay, yeah, this is just going to talk about a little bit about the difference between Copilot. And so basically with Copilot, you get the intelligent recap, but you could also go and ask your own, give it your own prompts and ask questions or create content based on that meeting. So not the main focus of today, but just since so many people ask, like, well, if I have Copilot, do I need Teams Premium? And, they're just kind of different. There's just this one little overlap here.
Right.
Okay, this is just, let me click. I'm gonna show you this. I don't want to show this. I should have taken this out. Okay. Yeah. So here's the key scenarios. Again, here in the middle of this Venn diagram, frequently attends meetings. There's often double booked for meetings. That's a key scenario for both Teams Premium and Copilot. But all of the hybrid work, remote location features I'm going to show are part of Teams Premium. There's just a ton that are completely outside of the Copilot license. Okay. So rich engagements. Here's the places where it falls in. The AI powered workplace app. It's really cool. It's built into not just Teams, it's also an app in Outlook, and then it's just being kind of sprinkled throughout your M365 experience to kind of give you insights and guidance on how to get the most out of working together. So this is showing the Outlook app where you can see all of the people that you collaborate the most with, or your team. You can set who you want to see, and you can see where they're working. So if they can create work plans that show I'm in the office in New York City on Monday and Tuesday, and I'm in the office in Arlington on Wednesday, or just I work remotely. And then if you're going into the office, all of the people that you're collaborating with, you can see where they're working, and not just the building, but if they've booked a room or desk space, you could see where in the building they are, so you could actually go say hi, because that's another thing, is if you work in an office has 4 different floors, you could easily just miss people, and then you end up sitting at your desk just on Teams anyway, and you're like, why did I come in?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have experienced that in the consulting world.
I have experienced that at Microsoft, like, oh, I'm going to go in, and then so room desk and booking. So this is pretty cool as well. So this is not just to be able to book conference rooms and desk pools, but also to be able to filter on different room capabilities. So, oh, I need an MTR. Oh, I need a whiteboard. Whatever the different amenities are for that conference room, you can do filtering. You can pick based on floor. You can choose based on capacity. And then it'll also, in Outlook, if you have a bunch of meetings on your calendar, you can go to the Places app and it'll say, hey, you've got this amount of meetings. Do you want to book rooms? And it'll just make recommendations for you, and then you could just touch of a button book your rooms. So for those of us,
the questions just come in. So can you do recurring meetings?
Yes. Yep. You can do recurring meetings. And if you have, so there's some features of Places that, well, there's an added layer of goodness to Places if you have the Copilot license, because if you have the Copilot license, if you're always in the office and you always need a meeting room for your meetings, you can actually have Copilot manage your room bookings for you and just book them for you based on how many people are going to attend in person. So that's pretty neat. I actually have not seen that in action yet, though. I'm not sure that feature is there yet, but that's the plan.
So another question's come in. Can you restrict it so only certain people can book rooms in certain buildings?
You can set up approval policies. I know that. I want to say that it's possible. I'm just not 100% sure, but I do know that you can have an approval process. And I know that because I can't show it, but in production, we actually have a version of Places up and running. Again, this is new. It's a new tool. It's only just now it's generally available in November. But anyway, I always book just to give demos or to play around with it. And then I always get my rooms denied. So we have at Microsoft a room approval process. And I guess I'm not meeting the criteria for that room. And there's some setup involved here for the floor mapping pieces. And you can use your mouse and move around in the map, and then you can add pictures of the room too. So you can actually see the space. So that's neat. And then you can see the little heads. So, hey, I need to book a desk. Where are the most people? Or maybe I want to avoid everyone, so let me look where there is nobody and try to find a desk all to myself. So again, just giving you those insights to be able to get the most out of your work time and collaboration. Okay. Yeah, so this is the intelligent booking I was talking about, where you can based on your calendar, okay, you've got these meetings booked. Here's some suggestions for them. And then you could just hit book and it'll book them for you. And then the other piece and the other kind of business problem that Places is solving for is companies not having any idea around their building and room and office space optimization and analytics. So if you've got 5 different offices and 3 different floors and a bunch of different conference rooms, it's hard to get insights into the occupancy of those and usage of those, and to try to read through that data to figure out what's best for your company. When people, if your company had a return to work mandate, hey, well, where should we have them go? Where should we have people go? And do we have enough space? Or do we have too much space and we could consolidate offices? So it gives you insights into your rooms, into the desks, and you can even connect with room sensors for the meeting rooms. If it has an MTR device, Teams meeting room device, you can, once you check in and start the meeting from the MTR, then it'll read like, okay, we know that room's being used. But you can actually add sensors so that you can actually know how many bodies were in that room. And also you can do an auto release policy with this license, where you just set up in a really organized way. Okay, if no one starts that meeting in that room, within 10 minutes, auto release that room so that anyone can book it. So again, just instead of having space sitting there, because some people might just accidentally, create a meeting or create a recurring meeting and just block a room that just sits empty.
Yes, I've seen that many times.
Yeah. Oh, so before I move on, I just want to talk a few more things about Places. So that there's a few things coming that actually don't require the Teams Premium license, and that's being able to choose your office location in your profile card so that people just know where you're working. And also the piece about seeing where your colleagues are and being able to centrally see, hey, who's in which office. You're going to be able to use that as well. So it's just something to note. Okay, so switching gears a bit, but still in the rich engagement piece of functionality. Custom branding, this is the branded experience for the lobby, and being able to kind of force company branding on the backgrounds. For some lines of business, it's really important to just have, the only approved corporate backgrounds. And then custom together modes, those are those things where you can switch in Teams meetings and all be at a desk together or all be sitting in an audience together. You can create custom ones that brand to like maybe a meeting room or that look like your office or whatever. So those are also in this license. Advanced town halls. So this is similar with webinars. So giving you more flexibility to customize the emails that go out to attendees, being able to host up to 20,000 attendees, and also getting real-time insights. So real-time insights is a kind of another theme that's part of Teams Premium. So real-time insights during town halls and webinars, but also Teams meetings in general. I'll cover off on that a little bit more. And then ECDN, this is important when, say you're all in the office and you're all joining a virtual town hall. It can really slam your bandwidth and give you quality issues. ECDN helps with that. So next thing is webinars. The main things to note here, if you're hosting webinars, you can have a wait list, you can do manual approvals, you can customize the messages that go out, you can customize whether you want to send reminders, you can do different streaming options in your meetings, and also get analytics on the engagement. So how much did people react, how long did they stay, etc. Bookings. Bookings is an app that's been around a long time, but we've added SMS reminders and a central app for appointment management. So I don't know, say you're a real estate agent that has a bunch of like virtual house showings, and you have a bunch of people signing up. You can manage the appointments with reminders, and then you can go into Teams and you've got this whole app that kind of manages where people are at on the waiting list and then quickly kind of switch between the appointments. Queues app is another. You see the theme that there's just a lot of different things in this one Teams Premium license. So,
It's turning into also like events. It's not compete. It's almost like competing with Eventbrite or Meetup here, isn't it?
yes, yep. And it's like I think just advanced innovation around Teams is just falling in this license now, most of it. Queues up. So call queues and Teams calling is something I had to learn a lot about when I joined Microsoft. It was not my focus in consulting at all, but it was a big focus it is a big focus at Microsoft, bringing the calling experience into Teams. So call queues and auto attendance, basically, think about when you call like a support line, maybe you're put in a queue and then the next person, you're put in a waiting line and then the next person who's available picks it up. Or maybe you call the pharmacy and it's press 1 to speak to the pharmacy tech, press 2 if you're from the doctor's office, and then you get routed to someone specifically based on what you've selected in that auto attendant. Well, that's existed in Teams calling for quite a while now, but what we're doing with this Queues app is bringing it to be able to be managed outside of the admin experience and just bringing an app into Teams where if maybe you just have a couple different teams within your organization that need to have this capability, managers can manage it themselves. They can see different analytics around how many calls did you get on each day? How much was the waiting time? What was the pickup rate? And try to just utilize your team the best way. And it brings it to like it democratizes it is the word we say at Microsoft, so that it's not just admins having to set all of this up. It puts it in the hands of the users to create these calling scenarios. Microsoft Mesh is also in Teams Premium. So this is something that probably a lot of you have at least heard or seen of, the virtual interactive immersive experiences. I've joined a few meetup through Mesh, and it's pretty neat. My daughter plays a lot of Roblox, and that's what it reminds me of. Being able to interact and collaborate with each other in a virtual way. That's how she hangs out with all of her friends. I wouldn't say that's how I'm hanging out with my friends at Microsoft getting our work done, but it is a neat experience to join meetings like that. You can create custom experiences. This could be used for training scenarios, things like that. So just know that that's part of Teams Premium now. Okay, advanced protection and management. So if you have very specific security and compliance scenarios, they may fall into this Teams Premium license. So if you have Purview, there's like a double asterisk there, because for this sensitivity labels feature to work in Teams meetings, even if you have Teams Premium, you still have to have Purview to be able to set up sensitivity labels. But what you can do is basically say you have certain types of meetings that you have over and over, or you just want to create a label for a meeting that really locks it down. You can create different labels, and when you select that label for your meeting, when you're setting up a meeting, it'll set the settings in the right way that are approved by your organization. So you can also limit who can record in a regular Teams meeting without the license. It's kind of like anyone can turn on recording, watermark, or you have to set these in a meeting policy that don't have the flexibility that you might need meeting to meeting. You can add watermarking to any shared content, and you can do end-to-end encryption, which end-to-end encryption is kind of a buzzy term that has come up a lot in the past around Teams meetings. So Teams meetings are encrypted. There's just a higher level of encryption with end-to-end. In regular Teams meetings, we say data in transit and at rest is encrypted. But with end-to-end encryption, it's encrypted on the sender's device and only decrypted on the recipient's device. So it's just an extra lockdown. Some things to note, it's not something you should just use willy-nilly unless you really, really need it, because There's unavailable features when you add this end-to-end encryption. Breakout rooms, Copilot can't be used. Live captions and transcription can't be used. People dialing in by phone can't be used. PowerPoint Live can't be used. Recording can't be used, etc. So you can see why you would only want to use this when you really, really need to.
Right, I can see that.
Yep. And then the real-time meeting quality telemetry. So you can get additional telemetry to be able to solve any performance issues you're having and for advanced reporting. So basically, and you can set up, we call it intelligent monitoring. So basically, you could set up to have alerts come through to administrators when meeting issues are happening. So this usually comes into play for C-suite people, people who are giving really high visibility meetings. You might want to do that for them. And if you do, then you can get alerts when those people are having issues and immediately try to solve it and diagnose it. You can also get a report. So if someone's just saying, hey, I'm having, Meet Teams isn't working, you can look through and see their connectivity, their device details, CPU and battery details, audio and video details. You can actually see, this one kind of makes me laugh because you can see whether they were actually just muted or actually not sharing their screen. So you can take that out of the equation and actually really diagnose issues more quickly. So that's also in this license. That was all I'm going to show in slides, but one thing I wanted to note is that I know a lot of speakers are like, don't ask me about licensing.
But that
I
question has come in, might I just ask? Oh.
I actually do, know quite a bit about Microsoft licensing, as confusing as we all know it can be. I'll admit, that's what people say a lot. But there are some features in Teams Premium that if the meeting organizer has the Teams Premium license and sets up the meeting, it'll apply for everyone. But then there's other things like the backgrounds, telemetry, where each user needs to have it. So there are some variances there. Just in case, what question was asked, I can try.
That was the question. Okay,
okay.
Is this an E5 or is this like E5 Premium or?
Yeah, these are things that aren't included in E5. It's a separate SKU called Teams Premium.
No.
Yeah. The one relation with E5 could be the sensitivity label piece, that for meetings, you also have to have, some additional security features that are part of E5. Okay. But everything else is kind of just outside of that.
Another question's coming in is that, can you use Teams Premium with E3?
Yep. Yes. Yep.
All right.
Okay. Now I have something else to show here, just quickly. I just need to. There we go. Okay. So I don't know how many people here have seen the intelligent recap, but it's something I really am thankful to have. This is an old kind of demo meeting that we do, but you can see where I've got different topics here. Product launch readiness, the agenda. So AI is creating these topics and chapters. So it's breaking it out by chapter, again, saving me time from having to scroll through all of this myself. I get an AI summary. So these meeting notes and follow-up tasks will be the same for everyone that has the license. But unless you have a Copilot or Teams Premium license, you won't see this. So meeting notes, follow-up tasks, if I was mentioned, it'll show up here. Some of these things are, there all the time. The content, the notes, you can be using Loop during meetings with notes, transcript. One thing I'll plug Copilot a little bit. We have a new agent coming out called the Facilitator that uses Copilot. You can add it to your meetings and it'll be during the meeting writing your notes for you. You can be co-authoring on them and changing them on the fly, just keeping everyone focused. So that's like one thing just I wanted to say about the notes.
That would be very useful. A scribe, basically.
Yeah, basically. And so then I just wanted to show say I'm going, I have Teams Premium, I'm going to set up a new meeting. You'll go into these meeting options. Here's where I could choose a sensitivity label, and what I select here, it'll just set my settings for me. So if I'm going into confidential, it's going to change maybe who can bypass the lobby, who could record, things like that. Or I can just start going through, and I have some of these options only because I have that license. So apply a watermark to everyone's video feed. And then it gives you a little thing about it. But on shared content, end-to-end encryption, and then engagement. Actually, no, recording and transcript's the one. So here's where I can either start it automatically, or I can choose who I want to be able to record and transcribe. So just wanted to just show you where those settings kind of apply. Maybe you have them and you don't even know if you're not like an admin.
That's always the feature. Actually, that's always the thing with Microsoft technology. I never knew this.
Yeah, so that's all I had to show.
Good dynamite stuff. Okay, we've got a few minutes left. Okay, your favorite feature of Microsoft product is Teams. No surprise there, I would say. And where do you want to be in 5 years' time?
Where do I want to be in 5 years' time? So this question's interesting because I'm really loving what I'm doing right now. And I think about this, right? Working at Microsoft, is there any other role I might want to do, or like, things I want to get done? And I mostly just want to keep getting better at what I'm doing. It's exciting because in the role I'm in, we're constantly focused on the newer technology, right? Because we're in pre-sales, so it tends to be the newer kind of cool stuff that we get to hands on, be in a demo environment with. And that's what I always loved doing when I was consulting. So really, I want to stay where I am and just get better at it. And also we have new teammates. I love like helping other people, mentoring, getting people up and going, and doing things like this. Thank you for sharing knowledge. Thank you for having me again.
That's a pleasure.
Fun.
Listen. All right. Okay. It's coming up on the hour. So thank you for your time, and I'll let you enjoy your lunch.
Yeah. Take care.
And I'll see you in DC at the Collab Days.
Yes. Anyone local should sign up for Collab Days DC February 21st, right? I believe it is.
Indeed. Yep. All right. Okay. Enjoy the weekend. Bye.
Bye.